So we were talking about why people would be very critical of devotees. One reason, which is maybe a more just reason, is that we see things going on in our movement that we feel are wrong, and we're upset, and rightly upset in certain cases. And so it's almost, in a sense, you could say, it's good that we're upset. It would be bad if we're not upset. Because if we're upset, there's energy there, then we'll take action to try to correct it, as opposed to being apathetic and just letting things go downhill. So being upset is not the problem, it's what you do with that energy. And so when that energy becomes tamasic, then it comes out as anger. You just want to pull people down. When the energy comes out more passionate, you have to prove that you're right. I know what's going on. And if the energy is more sattvik, then you'll look for solutions which will uplift the situation, uplift the people around you. So just because the reaction to a situation may be correct initially, and we point out the mistake, but then what we do, how we respond at that point, could be very tamasic or rajasic. And we need to understand that. And we see a lot of activities, a lot of devotees, I mean, I don't want to say a lot, but often devotees acting in very rajasic and tamasic ways to resolve issues. And issues don't resolve that way. At least it has to be sattvik, if not transcendental. That's Vaishnava culture. So we can be upset about things, that's fine, but what do you do now that you're upset? How do you process that? How do you deal with that situation with other devotees? So that we can create a solution that's going to help the situation. Because sometimes solutions create more problems. If you're coming from the mode of passion or ignorance, it's just going to create more problems. The other day we heard a class about the Cobra effect. And what the Cobra effect is, at one time, I think it was Delhi was being overridden by cobras. And so the government was paying people if they'd bring in cobras. And the Vaishyas thought, well, we'll cultivate cobras. I mean, the city was trying to get rid of cobras, and that's why they were paying people. You kill it, you bring it in. And so these mercantile people, they thought, well, why don't we just breed cobras? Then we'll have more cobras, and we'll bring them in and make more money. And so the government was thinking, where are all these cobras coming from? So they finally found out they were being bred, and so they said, okay, forget it, we're not going to pay anymore. And so these people were breeding hundreds of cobras, and they just let the cobras out in the city. So now the city had more cobras than before. That's called the Cobra effect, and that was meant to demonstrate the fact that how sometimes solutions to problems are worse than the problem themselves. And so a rajasic or tamasic solution is not a solution. So yes, it's good that you see a problem, it's good that you're not apathetic, but how you deal with it, that's the critical point. How Krishna conscious you are, how pure you are, how sattvik or transcendental you are, is going to determine how you deal with it. But if it's just pure anger or pure righteousness, and your goal, your solution is, I will commit Vaishnava aparad to every devotee, and I have a right to do it because they're not acting properly, that's not Krishna consciousness. That's just tamasic anger. That's what it is. And so we need to recognize that in ourselves, and we need to recognize that when we see it in others, and not buy into that mode. Unfortunately, that's the mode we come from, so it's often easy to buy into it. But it's not what we're trying to cultivate in Krishna consciousness. Hare Krishna.